Good morning. Let's try that. Okay, let's try that. Let's see if that works. I turned off my Wi-Fi and I'm working off of just my data at the moment because Wi-Fi seems not really be working at the moment. But yeah, I just wanted to say hello, see how everybody's doing. I don't have a whole lot going on at the moment. I'm still working out some plans for specific topics on streams for this week. And Mama and John and I will probably go live like usual. Hi, Crazy Love. We'll go live as usual on Wednesday, barring nobody's sick or anything. But I think even if like one or two of us can do it, we might just skip that week's topic and just continue to like just hang out with people. So that way those people who are looking forward to the weekly podcast can still, get something out of it. I don't know. We have plans. We've talked about things. I also want to again get some people on here. Yeah. Um, and do a little bit of creative talk. Like if you create anything, let me know and we can have a conversation about it for my Creator Corner podcast. And if you want to talk about trauma and healing, I have that going on with the Healing Together. And other than that, I'm going to be still doing my cozy streams. I might do some study streams so that way it keeps both me and some people, if they want to, on task. Do like 30-minute study, 30 or in like 15-minute, 20-minute, talking, that kind of thing. And I think people really did like the meditation and yoga, but right now I'm not going to do it outside because it is freaking humid. I'm sweating after being out of the shower already out here. I've not been out here for more than like 5 minutes. You're a 10-year survivor of domestic violence. I have been a 2-time survivor of breast cancer and surviving widow. Wow. Do you want to like have a conversation? Like we could totally talk about our trauma and like how we're healing, how we're not healing, how, we get on with our PTSD. Do I have let me see if I have a banner for my email. Yeah, there we go. You can email me at mybloodyvalentine@gmail, and it's VALNTNE. I've had that since the AOL days, and there was a lack of characters, so I just took a few letters out. And then here is my link tree to all my socials that I should update a little bit of it because I think I need to add some things to it, but that's my link tree. Awesome. Yeah, it totally is. Especially if like it's domestic violence, I like people who have been through that to get the word out and help others who might be going through that. Um, yes, sorry about that. Let me put up my email again. There you go. And currently I have actually the domestic violence issue on my brain because that video and song that Billie Eilish and Charlie XCX just dropped, Guess, they donated, um, they used about 10,000 pairs of bras and underwear in that video, and anything that was reusable, like if it didn't get broken or damaged or used during the shoot, they're donating all of those to domestic violence survivors. So I want to maybe try and do like a charity stream if for anybody who is willing to be on a panel that has been through domestic violence, because I definitely have. And domestic violence doesn't have to be with a loved one or with a partner, but domestic violence can also extend from like your childhood home, from your family members, whatever it is, because we had quite a bit of that going on in my life. And then that led me to getting into some abusive relationships because I didn't quite understand love relationships or how you're supposed to be treated, or any of that any of that fun stuff. So it's also good to talk about like the lack of resources that we've had, and I want to look into the laws a little bit, see where they're at in terms of bills on domestic violence, because for a while I was trying to keep up with a couple that were trying to go in to extending the statute of limitations for domestic abuse survivors. And unfortunately, in a lot of states, that number is a very low number of years. Usually it's like a year. You have up to a year. I think in California, they were hoping for 5 years, but they went from 1 year to 3 years. So you have 3 years in California for statute of limitations on domestic violence. I put over a clean pair of shorts for my story because it's wild. I was 12 hours before I was, whoa. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think this is a really, yeah, totally. We really need to talk about this because I really believe in really trying to educate people on how trauma really impacts us while we're going through that, and how it's just like coming out of a cult or a religious institution or a high control group. It takes you a bit to really breathe, try to deprogram, and like figure out what the fuck just happened, you know? And also the way I would like to educate young people on how to get out of those situations, how to make police reports, and what they will come up against in terms of legalities and stuff like that. Because in my situation, well, the only situation I had two really big abusive boyfriends, and the second one who like really got physical with me at the end, I did report it, and they did not really help me. Yeah, I was very surprised and shocked at um, how much they really don't help you and how much you're not in control of your situation, and how um, to get it prosecuted, because it is not up to you. It is up to the prosecution. If they have a case, if they feel like they have a case, then they will help you. Also, getting through the interview that they do when you make a report like this. I wish I had known or been coached on the tactics or the questions that they used, and like how you should word your answers, because I was told, and I'm not 100% sure if this is, exactly what happened in my case, but I have seen in other cases that if you like one of the questions they asked me was, are you afraid of him in public? And I said, in public, no. Like, yeah, I'm like scared of this guy, but I don't think he'd be stupid enough to do something to me in public. And I was told, like, basically, if you don't act scared enough, or um um you know, basically if you're not scared enough, then they like may not help you, because it's like, okay, I guess we have to pretend to be like scared for our lives, even though I knew for a fact that this dude wouldn't try anything in public. Um, but then again, I don't know, because I didn't expect him to also put his hands on me, and he did. People need to be more aware of how these things ramp up in a domestic violence situation, especially with stalking and stuff. I've had to go through stalking, and that was a very big toll on my mental health, and it's happened more than once. There's a huge jaw-dropping moment in your story. I am really, really want to hear it. I'm very interested in other people's stories about, even just about your life. Like, everybody has a story on how they grew up, what makes them tick, what makes them be pissed off, what drives them, what influences them, inspires them. Like, I just like having conversations with people about, those types of things. Oh, I am so sorry. You should know. I'm so sorry. Yeah. The laws are not very good, in my opinion, because they basically, the police will tell you, well, if they didn't do anything or try to do anything to you, then there's nothing we can do about it. And I think that's absolute bullshit, because someone okay, here's an example. I heard of this story of someone that I knew who had moved to LA, and they went out drinking one night, and then as they were walking home by themselves, they noticed someone following them, and then even once they got inside, the person was standing outside, and it was dark outside. They were standing kind of at the edge of the property, um, but they were on the property, and what happened? Oh, he was just standing there. This person was just standing there, and the cops told my friend, "Well, if has they tried to break have they tried to break in? No. Well, then there's nothing we can do about it. You have to like try to do something in order for the police to do something about it." And I feel like just there's not enough education when it comes to trauma and mental um trauma. Like, we know that we go through mental trauma, but sometimes the words or the threatening presence, or just, being scared of to go places because you don't know if this person's going to show up there, that is tormenting to somebody. And I wish that there were better laws revolving around that. You know what I mean? I was stalked by an ex who was a federal agent. Jesus Christ. That's another thing we need to talk about. The rate of police officers and FBI agents, people in those types of jobs, military, who are very avid domestic violence abusers. Yeah. The only thing that stopped him was that he flashed his badge at my job, which was an NYC public hospital. Okay. And if you want to come on here and like have talks about any of this stuff, Amy, just email me and we can set up a time. I am extremely flexible right now, except for Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my standing, like some of my appointments that I do, like the podcast on Mammo's Life's channel, and I have therapy that day. So actually, the next 2 weeks, I don't even think I have therapy because she's out of town. But either way, Wednesdays, I have at least one standing appointment, so that's the one day that I'm not as flexible, but I'm pretty much flexible any other time. Sundays, I like to not do anything unless my partner's doing something and he's busy, and then I can like do my own thing. But that's like that and Tuesday are like the only days that like I can do stuff on Tuesdays, but those are the 2 days that he has off that we like to try and go do things if we can. But he has projects around the house as well. I asked the NYC hospital to escort me to my car. When I saw him, hold on, sorry, it's hard to read today. In the garage, I said, "That's him." He flashed the badge, and I think that's what stopped it. Hospital police. Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. Bad people happen, and it sucks that some of us have to go through horrible in situations like that. But that's, I don't think we're ever going to completely stop horrible people from doing horrible things to others. But what we can do is make sure that we know what trauma-informed care is and how we can best support people when they've been through something. This was over 20 years ago. Okay. Yeah. So for me, I think the first real long-term abusive relationship I had where I got like super controlled was before I was even 21. I think, yeah, I was 19. I think I turned 21 during the relationship, but he slowly, over the 2.5 years or 2-ish years that we were together, whittling my support system away from me. That's something that you have to really be cautious of in relationships, I feel like, because before you know it, you have no lifeline because that person has cut off that lifeline. And sometimes it will start with like gaslighting, where especially if a narcissist picks on someone who is vulnerable and has like maybe a bad home life, they're going to be like, well, yeah, they don't understand you the way that I do. It's kind of like, I've seen this tactic in cults. Um, I've seen it in even AA and like some support groups where the way the policies work within the group is they help get you away from your support system. Therefore, you only have that group to rely on or that person to rely on. I was told it was a one-to-one cult. So if it's just like you and your partner, it's a one-on-one cult that they're wrapping you up into. And yeah, so this person basically made it so that like anytime that he didn't want to do something and I did, wasn't allowed basically to do that thing because he's like, well, don't you want to spend time with me? Like, don't you want to do the thing that, I just don't want to go to that. But let's go to the thing that I want to go to. And I'd be like, okay, fine, let's go do that. Even up to my 21st birthday, I wasn't allowed to do what I wanted on my 21st birthday. I wanted to go out and drink with my friends. And I was like, well, it's mostly girls. You can come if you want, but this is what we're going to do. And I don't even remember how the conversations went, but I canceled everything, ended up spending my 21st birthday with him and his friends at their house. And I was cleaning up everybody's like messes. And that wasn't fun. He was taking me away from the things that I love to do, like take pictures of bands and travel and do things. So basically, yeah, he whittled me away from my support system, my friends, and yeah, I don't want to go in, and maybe I'll sit down and talk about the details at another time because the details can be pretty gross. But I was under the impression that a partner could not RU, I'll just say. Um, and so I had no idea what was really happening to me. And then towards the end, when I finally was like, fuck the fuck off, because he was doing the, I am going to unalive myself if you don't come back to me. I'm going to, you know how much this hurts me, like I can't lose you, blah 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 blah, blah. All that kind of stuff. And he would start stalking me, showing up to my church, showing up to my work, calling my work, and getting me in trouble for calling so much at work. And it took me 6 months to break up with him, because I was broke up with him, but he was basically like, okay, well, we're not over until I say it's over. We definitely need a warning on mine. It gets extremely graphic. Yes, of course. And I'm fine with people getting graphic. And I will always have the trigger warning up. And if people can't handle it, then they can bow out if they need to. But I still think that it's important for people sometimes to know details of how things go in order for them to wrap their head around the full scope of what's happening. And you obviously, like anybody, I would never like force you to talk about graphic details if you don't want to, but you are fully capable. Like you can talk about whatever you want on my channel. I'm not monetized yet. We might have to worry about some language just to make sure that it doesn't get blocked or hidden because of the nature of it. But we can talk about that. Yeah. So back to like, so yeah, it took me about 6 months to get rid of him. Like he would show up to places, he would say that I was cheating on him because I would be with a guy friend or some crap. And what finally got him to stop was he was saying really bad things about me to his friends, and his friends were thinking that I was doing some horrible shit to him. And one day when I was over at my friend's house, who was dating one of his friends, I got on Messenger and I got one of those messages from this guy, you know, I'm gonna unalive myself, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, look, see what he's doing? And then his friend immediately called him up and like was like, what the fuck are you doing, guy? Like, what are you doing? Um, and then he finally left me alone after that. But yeah, that was very traumatizing, and that took me years to kind of figure out what even happened and how to stop something like that from happening again to me. I'm completely okay with talking about graphic details. I may need to take a breath or pause. Oh, of course. Yeah, no, like, um, yeah, like there are times when I'm going through a story and I have to take a minute because it's hard for me to get through it. But yeah, like this kind of stuff is not easy to talk about. And sometimes, even if like we're not crying talking about it, it's still not that easy to talk about. Um, yeah. So that was, a TLDR of one of my horrific controlling exes. Um, the one after him was a lot more calculated in his grooming and maneuvers with me, because he was the type of narcissist that would be so charming to everybody in public, so nice, taking care of people in public, but totally different behind the scenes. I got to go back to work meeting. I'll be back if you're still on. Well, I'm about to probably wrap it up because it's pretty hot out here and I don't want to take another shower right now. um Yeah, so yeah, I will get to your email as soon as I'm off here. And Amy, make sure you email me if you want to. All right, guys, here's my link tree one more time. And all my socials. I think all my socials are on there. I still have to go on there and like make sure that everything's there. But like even my band stuff is now listed finally on there. I have my Venmo if you feel like you want to donate. And yeah, that's all. Um, It was good to catch up with you guys and just to say hi. I like um, seeing you guys here, and I appreciate you. And I look forward to talking to you next time. Remember to stay safe and stay hydrated.